Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we're embarking on a genuinely profound philosophical journey. We're going to take something you and I experience every single day, just these fleeting moments of beauty, and use them to unlock a massive eternal concept. Think about the last time you were truly captivated by something. Maybe it was a stunning, vibrant sunset painting the sky, or the intricate geometric perfection of a blooming flower, or even just a profoundly unexpected act of human kindness. In those moments, there's often this strange, quiet sense of longing that creeps in, right? Because deep down, you just know that specific moment isn't gonna last. The sun dips below the horizon, the flower inevitably withers, and, well, the moment passes. But what if that feeling of longing isn't just some glitch in our psychology? In this explainer, we're gonna explore a fascinating theological framework suggesting that these fleeting moments aren't random temporary occurrences at all. Actually, they are deliberate, carefully placed clues pointing directly toward a much deeper, permanent reality. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to just imagine for a second that you're walking down a quiet street, and out of the corner of your eye, you spot this tiny, beautifully crafted sketch displayed in a small, completely unassuming window. You lean in for a closer look, and right there in the bottom corner, you recognize the unmistakable signature of a world-renowned master artist. Just seeing that signature triggers something in your mind, doesn't it? I mean, you don't just think about that one little sketch anymore. You immediately start imagining a grand, sweeping, retrospective exhibition of their entire life's work in some massive museum filled with their absolute masterpieces. You inherently know that if they're capable of this small, isolated brilliance, the full body of their work must be absolutely breathtaking. Keep that thought right in the back of your mind, because it's literally the perfect anchor for what we're exploring today. Section 1. The artist's signature and the exhibition. We humans are uniquely wired to recognize patterns and origins. When we see a masterpiece, our minds just naturally look for the creator behind it. Well, this framework asks us to apply that exact same logic to the universe itself, which brings us to the signature metaphor. Think of all the earthly beauty, perfection, and goodness we encounter in this incredibly short world as just that, a recognizable mark, a signature. A magnificent snow-capped mountain range, the impossibly intricate vascular design of a single autumn leaf, or even a moment of profound compassion between total strangers, these are all signatures. They're brilliant for sure, but they're also temporary. They fade away. But according to the source material we're examining today, this earthly beauty isn't the main event, not at all. It's merely a recognizable mark pointing to a much grander, eternal retrospective where the ultimate artist's full, infinite mastery is permanently displayed. What we're experiencing right now? It's just a preview, not the whole show. Section 2. Bediüzzaman's Supplication and the Witnesses. So we're drawing this really fascinating perspective from a core theological source text by the Islamic scholar Bediüzzaman Said Narsi, specifically a profound passage from the 10th word known as the supplication or munajat. Now in this text, he doesn't just toss out this idea of an eternal exhibition as some nice philosophical theory. Instead, he introduces the concept that there are incredibly powerful, universal witnesses testifying to this reality. Bediüzzaman basically argues that there's a unanimous agreement among the greatest spiritual authorities in human history. He points out that the Quran, the Prophet of Islam, as well as all previously revealed sacred books and all prophets throughout time, serve as collective, unshakable witnesses to this concept. And for those of us familiar with the topic, the weight of this is just immense. These aren't just isolated historical figures. They represent this continuous chain of spiritual authority independently corroborating the exact same truth. They universally testify that the reflections of beautiful divine names, the mercy, the artistry, the wisdom we see sprinkled all throughout this world, won't just disappear into nothingness. Instead, these witnesses assert that these qualities are permanent, and they're going to continue far more brilliantly and completely in eternity. It's a profound consensus of spiritual history pointing directly toward this ultimate exhibition. Section 3. Beauty continuing in eternity. Now, what's really interesting here is how this affects us personally. The source text suggests a truly beautiful promise for those who engage with the world in a specific way. It implies that if you're someone who lovingly observes and appreciates these beauties in this short worldly life, if you truly recognize them as the signatures we've been talking about, you aren't just passively watching. You're actively forming a spiritual connection. And this active practice of observation essentially guarantees your ticket to the main event. Let's look at this comparison side by side. On one hand, we've got this short, worldly life. It's beautiful, sure, but it's a fleeting preview. The beauty and goodness here are merely glimpses. Think about a gorgeous spring day. It inevitably turns to winter. But on the other side, we have eternity. This is the main exhibition. This is where the original infinite beauty is brilliantly, permanently displayed. By looking at this contrast, we see a super powerful logical argument. The very temporary, micro-level nature of the beauty we see here absolutely necessitates a macro-eternal source. If the preview is this moving, well, the actual exhibition must be completely beyond comprehension. Section 4. The true exhibition of divine names. Okay, so we've talked about the metaphor, we've explored the witnesses, and we've compared the temporary preview with the eternal reality. Now, let's anchor this entire philosophical framework directly into the scriptural evidence that forms its absolute foundation. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate source. This quote from the Quran, Surah Al-Araf, verse 180, states unequivocally that the most beautiful names belong to Allah, so call on Him by them. In Islamic theology, these are the Asma al-Husna, and this completely grounds everything we've been discussing today. The physical, earthly manifestations of beauty aren't random. That profound compassion you see in a mother caring for her child, it's a direct, albeit limited, reflection of Ar-Rahman, the most compassionate. The breathtaking artistry you see in a coral reef or a distant nebula, that's a reflection of Al-Musawwir, the flawless shaper. Earthly beauty simply doesn't exist in a vacuum. It originates directly from these divine names. And because these names are infinite and eternal, they demand an eternal realm, an ultimate exhibition, to be fully and completely manifested. So if we pull all of this together and synthesize what we've learned in this explainer, it really boils down to one simple yet incredibly powerful truth. The original must be much greater. It perfectly follows the exact logic of our artist's signature from the very beginning. Think about it. If the fleeting, temporary beauty, goodness, and perfection we witness in this incredibly short life are so deeply moving, so intricately designed, and so emotionally resonant, then the absolute, original source of that beauty and eternity must be unfathomably magnificent. What we're seeing right now is honestly just a shadow passing over a wall. The absolute reality is waiting for us in the grand exhibition. I want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on today. Just look back on your own life for a second. Have you ever experienced a moment of beauty? Maybe it was a breathtaking landscape that completely left you speechless, a profound piece of music that brought tears to your eyes, or an unforgettable, selfless act of love that touched you so deeply it made you say, "Man, the original of this must be much greater." Well, if you have, according to the philosophy we explored today, you haven't just experienced a nice moment. No, you've actually already caught a glimpse of the eternal exhibition. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep looking for those signatures.